Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me here today, and today is a special day. Why? Because it's today. What a blessing. Anyway, my name is Abbie and this is Spend More Time in the Wild. So we are all about inspiring and empowering individuals to get outside for the benefit of mental and physical health whilst building meaningful connections with the natural world and with each other. So I mentioned the word connection there. This year, 2020 for me is all about connection and community. They're my sort of two key words. And it's been super awesome because we are right at the beginning of March now. So we are 2 months in to my running of the Patreon page that I've set up to Spend More Time in the Wild. And it has just been the best thing because, you know, I really want to build a community around this Patreon page, and that is totally happening. So we've got so many people involved now. We've created a safe, supportive, inspirational space. People are doing life together, people from all around the world, and it is just beautiful, man. I land up on that page and I just like weep. I love you guys. And, you know, I want to give a quick shout out to Patrick Moore and Claus Issa just to say thank you so much for supporting the project, guys. Could not be doing this without you. You're helping to change lives. You guys are being the change. Thank you so much for being involved in Patreon and everything that we're doing at Spend More Time in the Wild. And if you would like to support the project, guys, if you're not familiar with that, or if you're new to this channel, then first of all, you're just supporting the project by watching this video. So as I said, thank you for being here. Today is a beautiful day. But if you'd like to look at other ways to get involved, whether that's joining our walks or supporting us financially, just head to the Support the Project page down below, links below there, and you can find out a lot more. Plenty going on to get involved with. Speaking of getting involved, we like camping, right? Let's get involved in some camping. So today we are talking tents, which I'm super pumped about because this is a little bit different to my usual sort of tent setup. So as some of you guys know, I'm partnered with Terra Nova a little bit here and there. They sometimes offer me some tents to do open, honest, genuine reviews. So I've looked at their laser competition, the Zephyros 1, and today we're looking at this, which is the Southern Cross 1. So I've been sort of curious about this tent for a while, because it is a 4-season backpacking tent. So ultimately, you know, it can be used year round. It can be used in some pretty tough conditions. If they're selling it as 4-season, you know, you can be out there in the snow and the wind and the gales, and this thing should stand up to it. And actually, it's done pretty well where I've been, but more on that later. What makes this particularly interesting to me is it's entirely freestanding. Now there are pegging out points, which is cool, and again we'll look at that later when we put it up together, but it is freestanding. So there's a lot of polage, there's lots of poles to obviously keep this supported, but I really like the idea of a freestanding tent, especially, you know, if you're in winter conditions, you pitch up and you know, you're doing it in a rush because there's a storm coming in, and then you're in your tent in the storm and there's like a lump underneath where you're sleeping. You can just get out and drag the tent, and dude, I love that. But obviously there's a lot more reasons why having a freestanding tent is super beneficial. But just to run through some stats with this tent, so it does weigh 1.69 kilograms, so 1.7 kilograms. So of course it's not the lightest, but then again, it is a 4-season tent. So it's one person. There is a 2-person version available. There is also a footprint available. So this is the footprint, which I haven't used. This is brand new. It says it weighs 250 grams. So the footprint, if you're unfamiliar with that term, essentially is something that goes underneath the tent just to offer a little bit more protection, a bit more insulation, and just to prolong the life of the tent. As you'll see, it is made of some pretty robust fabrics, but of course, as with any tent, it's a trade-off between sort of robustness and weight. Just to give you a little comparison, if you've watched any of my other videos or tent reviews, you'll see that I'm a pretty hardcore, old school, like Hilleberg fan, and I use my Hilleberg Acto, Hilleberg NN quite a lot. Again, both 1-person backpacking tents. Now the Acto is a 4-season tent and that weighs 1.8, so this is actually just a little bit lighter. There's a few things I like about it, a few things that I'm still sort of getting used to. I might not ever get used to because every tent's got its pros and cons. But you can see straight away, you know, it comes in this bag, which is helpful. This is the same color as the actual tent. Of course, it's quite discreet, so for wild camping and things, it's nice. To be honest, when I've been on the trail with this, and I've had a few nights in this now, I don't necessarily use the stuff sack, or I bring this and a plastic bag, because the inner and outer can be pitched together. So you can pitch just the outer first, and then the inner and outer together if you want to, if you know you've not got much condensation going on or the rain's not raining down on you. So that's quite nice. You've got this little carry handle at the end here on the bag as well, which is just helpful just to get it out, you know. And what I'll do is I'll take stuff out and we'll run through all the different stats and information and things. I haven't got a huge amount of things to talk about. I'm just really keen to get this pitched up and show you really what it looks like. Now, one thing that is possibly a major barrier for a lot of people is the price of this tent. So it does cost £550. That's a lot of money, right? It's a chunk of money. Now, I mean, it's not, when you look at lightweight 4-season backpacking tents, it's very competitive actually, to be honest, but you know, it is a chunk of money, and is it worth it? Well, I'm going to go through this review and hopefully you guys can sort of suss that out. Of course, any questions you've got, if there's anything you think I've missed out, please do pop it in the comments below, and hopefully I can get back to you, or just drop me a message on my social media pages. Definitely be sure to check those out. We've got a lot going on the social media pages. It is like, whoa man, a lot going on there. Anyway, let me just open this up. So you've got a nice logoed bag, super simple. These are quite light, which is good. A little bit better than plastic bags as well, so that's something. First thing that comes out is this whopping great sleeve. This is where the weight is really on this tent, and these are the poles. So let's get these out. So you can see there's two different coloured poles. So we've got red and we've got blue. Now there's a whole load of red poles. Look at these, man. This is insane. So this is sort of the spine of the tent, and you'll see as we put it up. So they're red. Obviously colour coding just makes it a little bit easier for pitching stuff up. Unless you're colourblind, and then that's not ideal really. So we got these poles. I think they're 8.6mm. They really are very robust, very sturdy, and quite weighty, but it's a 4-season tent, you know, it needs to withstand the conditions, and of course, you know, it's supporting the whole tent, so you don't want fragile, bendy tent poles. So yeah, 8.9, I think they're TN or something. Oh yeah, Terra Nova. Yeah, reflex poles. So they have got a bit of bend in them. So that's those guys. And then we've got the blue ones as well. So these sort of form the ridge of the tent. So nice blue. I love that blue, man. I don't know about you, but that is like, I like that blue. I won't buy a tent for that, but I like this blue. And actually this is, I don't know if they're the same. This feels a lot lighter. Obviously there's a lot less blue than red, but they just feel slightly different. But I think they are the same. That's just my weird... I need to do more bicep curls on this arm than this arm. So that's that. As you can see, a lot of foliage. And then the pegs, Terra Nova, come on. The pegs that this comes with are basically your standard, what I like to just call like DOV scout pegs, just like ridiculous pegs. I can't even find the words. So of course I swapped them out. I am actually going to pitch it with these pegs. There are 11 pegs that it comes with, but I would strongly suggest if you're trying to strip back the weight of this, and in fact just if you do any backpacking at all, don't use these pegs. Get something a little bit lighter, whether that's your V-shape or your X-shape pegs. They're going to do the job just fine. And then it comes with just this little patch, spare set of patches, and I believe that's about it. I thought, oh there is, there we go. There is a little, here we go, just a little repair, pole repairer thingy-mabob. So if you need to straighten anything out or sort anything out with the poles, you can use this. So it's quite nice, it comes with that. And the more tents you get, the more of those you accumulate. So it's always worth having a little bit of spare stuff on you, because you just never know what's going to get thrown your way. So that's that. And then the main fabric of the tent, here we go. So I've got the inner and outer attached together at the moment. So as I said, the outer fly sheet is the same colour as the bag, which is great. Very discreet, as you see when it's pitched, just super low profile, so it really is decent for wild camping in. The fabric is made of 30 denier weave fabric, so it's, I don't know, sort of mid-range in terms of robustness and to sort of prevent snagging and stuff. So basically denier is the density of the weave. So like my coat, for example, not this one, but just say my waterproof across the shoulders is usually like 70 denier, because of course you got that rubbing of the rucksack. So this is 30 denier, just to give you a little bit of comparison. I think the hydrostatic head is about 6,000 millimeters. So I'll put all the stats down below if that's helpful for you as well. And then of course just the inner tent, which we've got white here actually. I'm used to yellow, man. White is different. And then we've got the ground sheet as well. So I think what I'm going to do is basically we'll move over there to the little bit of scrub land, and we'll get this pitched up. We'll sort of talk through, well yeah, I want to get it pitched up, and then we'll talk through all the different stuff in a bit more detail, run through the features. I've also got some of my hiking kit with me, so I'll put that inside so you can see what that looks like in terms of space, and we'll go from there. So scrubland, here we come. Okay, so obviously today is not a windy day, but if it was, you'd probably want to peg out a couple of the end points so this doesn't blow away and you go, oh, there goes my shelter. I have to make a backup plan. So for simplicity's sake, just for conversation, I'm going to not peg anything out. So to pitch this up, basically we want to start with this massive red pole, and you'll see as I put it together just how big this pole is, but it's pretty, it needs to be big essentially to keep the tent nice and supported. This is really what gives it its freestanding nature. So this is an external pole, as you'll see as we put it up. So we've got these two sort of V shapes here on either end. It's massive, look at this. Woo! I feel like I could go paragliding. Right, so make sure it's all put together properly. And what we're going to do is, everything is colour coded on this tent just for simplicity's sake. So you take the ends and you pop them in the little loopholes. So nice metal holes there to keep it supported. And of course you're going to need to bend the pole into shape, give it some discipline. And then the other end all goes in nice and easy. It really is so simple, you know, and if you're cold and you've got gloves on, you don't want to be faffing around with stuff. So I really like that. But to be fair, most tents are quite similar these days. So bend that in place, and there we go. Look, we've got the spine straight away. Just get it a bit straightened up. Look at that. Awesome. As you can really see, that's how you get the freestanding nature. Of course, we've not quite got a shelter yet. So now let's get the blue pole here as well. And this one goes down the middle, as you'll see. This one has actually got a sleeve, so it's not visible, but sliding it through the middle. If I can get my hands to work, they are a little bit cold. There you go. Right the way through. And again, pop that into the little blue ring there. And then we're going to pull the fabric round all the way, all the way, all the way. And then pop it in the loophole that side. And now we very, very nearly have a tent. Now this is the bit I love, this is the magic. So the way this fabric actually clips onto this pole is you've just got these super big, chunky, but lightweight little clips, and all you do is just bring them up to the red pole. Again, just so simple, so quick. Imagine the rain's coming down or it's snowing right now, it's getting dark, you just want to get in your tent, get your stove on, get a brew. Gonna, oh, not got that very good. Come back to that one. All the way around. Here we go. So, last few, it does get a little bit tighter when you're getting the last couple ones on, but the poles are pretty solid. Woo, there we go, we have a tent. So obviously it's not particularly tight, and that's actually because I've gone for the outer points there, but it's freestanding. It's great, huh? So all we're going to do now is I'm just going to quickly peg out the guide points, and then we'll get some stuff in and I'll show you what it looks like inside with some kit. Okay, so we're on the GoPro now, just means I can move around a little bit more. You can see the tent fully pitched, so it looks quite nice and tight. It probably could be a little bit tighter actually. Just to run through the pegging out points, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pegging out points. What I quite like on the back, and there's one on the front, is these sort of elasticated bits, so you can really just pull the fabric out a little bit more, just widen that space. That's going to really help with airflow and circulation and reducing condensation. Then on the guy lines, just Dyneema guy lines, super thin, nice and lightweight, and just your sort of classic tension point there, just putting that nice and tight, really easy to use. A little bit thin and fiddly with gloves, but just about manageable, or cold hands. Look at that, that's not normal. And of course they're very well attached to the tent as well. This is good fabric. It's been thought out, you know, the 4-season stuffness of it just keeps coming through. Nice logo there, sort of sewn on as well. I just love Terra Nova, you know, being a family run company. They're really quite small, such good ethics within their organization. It's just so nice to be able to support them and work with them. So again, you can see just how low profile it is, sort of design, very, very sturdy. You can see how that is going to stay upright. Obviously in winds, you want to make sure you're sort of pitched into the wind in that sense, as opposed to that sense, because that is a lot of fabric to take the wind. But hey, wind changes direction and you can't win all the time. So let's have a look inside. Oh, and that's that one pegging out point. There is not one on the door, so this is a little bit looser. So obviously this is the entrance. There's a single way in and a single way out, so no escape exit. We've got the zip underneath here, so we've got this nice protective sleeve just to protect the zip. Obviously this velcro's on, which is quite cool. The zips themselves have been okay. They haven't stuck much. They really are quite easy to use, and I like that, because I found with quite a few Terra Nova tents the zips stick. The door, I forgot to bring it, but usually I actually use a cloves peg, so I roll it up. It's quite hard to do with one hand. Usually I just sort of roll it up like that as much as possible, and then basically like peg it up, because it just means there's a bit more of an opening. But what they've actually got on this one, and they have actually got something, just more of the clips, and so you can take it up and clip it onto the frame here. Just sort of gets it out of the way, so you can see it's a bit less open than it would be if I rolled it out with a peg, because I'd probably go all the way up. But it does the job if you haven't got a closed peg because washing. So we can see inside. So we've got this nice bright white colour, which is quite good, but that's not going to stay that colour for long probably. It's going to get a bit muddy, I expect. We've got the porch here, so just to give you an example of what sort of fits in it. So that's my Osprey Exos 48, my Pride and Joy. Just got a little stove there set up with some gas in there, bit of food. Don't need that right now, not going anywhere. And then this is just the tent, so Thermarest X-Lite, roll mat, Thermarest X-Lite Neo Air, my second one because the first one burst. That was interesting. So you can see how it fits. So that's it right at the bottom, and then we come back up to the top. There's just a little bit of space. So I'm 5'7". This is a regular size mat. If you're a bit taller than that, this might be interesting for you. There's quite a nice head height, and I'll sit up in a minute. This is probably the tallest tent actually that I've got, which is quite nice. A couple pockets here, again, just easy access, really nice. But of course, you put anything in that, and you can see straight away how the fabric is falling down. Now, I've already experienced the last couple of nights that I've been in this. This fabric does sort of come in. It does feel a little bit coffin-like on occasion. So it's really important that coming down here, you can see you've got these sort of tension points. Pull them nice and tight, and that's going to pull things out a little bit more. And of course, try not to have stuff rest on it so that then it's not going to fall in on your face. In terms of pitching if you wanted to add the inner because you just pitched the outer, you've got the just sort of classic toggle points here. So a toggle and a loop, and it just goes in, and that's all the way around. It's elastic, so it's really nice because you might accidentally pull this tight and then be like, oh, I can't reach, but it's elastic, and that works really well. Super simple. You can see how light it feels in here. Then either end, if I come in, we've got ventilation points. Not the best ventilation points, if I'm honest, and of course you can see how close to the ground that outer is, so there's not going to be a lot of airflow. You can pin those up if you want to. Pin, pin, pin. And the other end as well, right there, happy days. Then the door, you can see as well, is half a mesh, so you could roll that back. Obviously there's little pegging out points there, so you can roll that back and get that right out of the way, and then you can have a view of my other camera. Hello, camera. It's quite nice actually, and from this angle you can see that the porch is a fair size. You know, it's very competitive to a lot of other one-person tents that I've worked with. You know, you could keep your boots sort of just down there. There isn't much space sort of behind on the laser competition one or the laser compact one. You know, I could store stuff around there. Not the case on this, because obviously for season 10 they're trying to keep it quite close to ground just for added protection. Now if I turn the camera around, you can see I can pretty much sit up right now, which is really nice. So a lot of the one-person tents I usually find myself a bit like this, but this one, I mean, hat aside, I'm doing all right. This is workable. I could stay in this for a couple of weeks easy. I really like that. So there's not a lot to say now really. I just wanted to point out the features. Condensation, with regards to this tent, I did have quite a bit of condensation, but I'm actually also very used to that. All the one-person tents I've had, bar the laser compact one, I've just had a lot of condensation. And as I say, when you're sort of lying down here, these can feel a little bit close to your face, but not as close as some. So that's quite nice, because of course you've got this ridge or the spine just supporting everything upright, which is really nice. It is, if you can get it pulled tight, it really does feel quite spacious, and it feels like a good little second home or first home, depending on the lifestyle that you live. So again, just to show you, if I just unclipping the door when you're in the tent isn't always the easiest. You can see, can't. This is why I just recommend taking a tent peg. Okay, there we go. That's one. Oh, that's not going to happen right now. But essentially, I was just going to show you the zip. So it's super easy to use on the inside, and you can of course unzip the top. Not that you can look out because there's the flap there. There's just a train going past, so excuse the background noise. And that is that really. So here we go. That is the Terra Nova Southern Cross 1. Not a lot else to say. You've got this nice bathtub design, so it does come up a little bit, which is good, but that's it. In terms of a one-person tent, it's pretty simple, pretty spacious, does the job for me. I just wanted to finish actually by one little thing that I've picked up on when it comes to packing this tent away. Now, a lot of one-person tents, they're super easy because there's like a pole at either end of the tent, and you can wrap the fabric around the pole, so it gives it some structure. And then when it comes to me, for example, I clip it to the bottom of my rucksack. It's got that sort of, the poles that sort of forms the foundation, if that makes any sense. But of course with this one we've not got that, so it basically is just a load of fabric and a load of poles. Of course, when you put the poles in the bag, it gives it a little bit more structure, but when it comes to putting away the fabric, you've just got to stuff it in the bag. And I just wanted to give you a little warning with that, because of course this isn't the most robust fabric, so just go careful when you're stuffing it away, basically. So just to wrap this up then, hopefully I've covered everything that you guys might have questions about. So 4-season tent, you know, quite pricey, but I really like it actually. As I say, I've only used it for a couple of nights, and this is a completely honest review. Like, it just feels good. Everything works well. It feels safe, it feels well structured, it feels spacious, it's just protective. It's just got a really solid feel about it. Some other Terra Nova tents I've used, it just feels a little bit like, is this gonna last? All the seams are taped, everything is good to go as soon as you get this tent. So obviously I'm going to keep using this throughout the year, so I can get back to you on a sort of second and third update, as I usually do with my tents. But right now, I think we might have a little partnership going on. It feels all good. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this has been useful. I hope this has been helpful, just giving you some kind of insight into this tent, the Terra Nova Southern Cross 1. Don't forget there is the 2-person tent as well. Of course, it's just going to be very similar to this, just a little bit bigger. Any questions, pop them below. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Enjoy the rest of your day and your next adventure, actually. And until then, stay wild. I'll see you soon.